Hello and
Hey!
welcome to the inaugural episode of HardLore Stories from Tour.
Wow, I've never heard it said out loud.
I think we just kind of decided on the final one
Yeah,
a few minutes ago.
yeah, you
So
nailed it. Nailed
here
it.
we are. We did it.
Perfect.
We got a show.
Tell them the premise, Colin.
Well, we're going to be sharing stories from our tours that we've been on, tours that our guests have been on, because it's just this whole world that every musician is part of. And everybody has these similar stories, even if they haven't traveled together. And it's like it's miserable at times. It's exciting. It's beautiful, and it's this thing that every musician bonds over.
Yeah,
So it's kind of like why not involve the audience in that? And we know that the people in the audience have their own crazy stories from the
of
tour.
course.
Like Kyle Thomas from formerly of Twitching Tongues tells me this amazing one of him front row for like Mudvayne or something. And not wanting to lose his spot, so he just pissed his
Oh
pants.
yeah, I've heard that story.
It's like that. And
That's a classic tale.
where are those piss and pants stories? We want them.
Yeah, and it's gonna be a lot of like, I don't know. I feel like we make him come off as like a little, like we're babies, like we're whining, but it's just kind of like, yeah, because it sucks. And I am imagining. I have no idea what your story is, and you don't really. We kind of know what we're going to talk about, but
I feel like and with the subject of today's is a European tour that both of our bands, Twitching Tongues and Harvest Way.
wait, we're doing that one?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I was talking about another. Okay, this is even better.
Yeah.
This is even better.
From the summer of 2013.
Wait, all right, hold on. Okay, so we should do both of ours then because
Yeah, please.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
This is the first episode. We got we gotta introduce the why. Why do we have a show together?
Okay, Jesus.
We're gonna get there. Yeah. So you said you wanted to start off with kind of the whole story.
Yeah. So
please, by all means.
I meant the moment we became aware of you.
Yeah.
A very infamous video from
we can start there.
San
it all
Bernardino.
works.
I mean, that's what I thought we were talking about.
Oh no, we're talking about the big shebang.
Okay, we could do the big
the summer of hell is what I call it.
Maybe should I save mine for another one then?
No, because it goes into what
You're right.
What this?
Okay.
Yeah. This is very good,
Okay.
And that's part of that.
Wow. Well, this makes it. We're doing it live, dude. I got flyers.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would love for you to lead with this.
Okay.
Because this is how we're getting to summer 2013.
So it was 2007, but eventually 2008.
Correct.
You and I met each other. Well, no, I'm going to save it. So Harm's Way and Convicted were bands at the same time that shared three members. Me, Chris, and James were in both. And there was a winter tour around like after Christmas through New Year's into mid-January. We found out the day of leaving that the singer of Convicted couldn't do it because he got like a real job offer and just blah, 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 couldn't do it. And Andrew Morrissey and our friend Molly, who did merch for both bands, like were like, well, we took the time off, like we'll still go. So we put 8 people in a cargo van and just decided, okay, Chris is going to sing like the first few shows, and then eventually Drew sang the middle, and then I sang like the whole back half. And, it was what it was. And
it worked.
It worked. It was
as
fine.
A guy who went to the show and saw, did you sing that day?
I sang that one, yeah.
You sang in San Bernardino. I remember being like, I guess these guys are in another band. I don't know.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah. So it was a really, truly, terribly miserable tour. I have a picture. Oh shit. This picture is like how we sat. So this, I should do the other side. So this is, oh Jesus Christ. So this is me and my leg on Molly on a cargo van. So we just slept side by side, and then Molly took the ditch every fucking time.
Damn,
with
the
all,
ditch is... as a small person, the ditch is probably fucking sick.
Probably, and she was pretty small. It was fucking so bad. Here's another one of like, that's caution.
Actual cargo van.
Yeah, an actual cargo van. No seats, no heat in the back. It was a winter tour. You'll note we're all in our coats and hoodies.
Yeah.
And I mean, it also, again, not to sound like, a prick, but this was like way before hotels were ever a possibility.
Oh my God. Hotels became a thing. Like you think we look back now and we're just like, imagine doing the things that we've done now.
A lot of it, I simply would refuse.
Fucking no way. But it's like that's how you learn that. Yeah. And that's how you come up in this world is you gotta grind.
It was
in all the worst ways.
We eventually got like a futon cushion from IKEA, but it was a cool tour because it was my first time in California. It was my first time ever in California. So that means first ocean, first in and out, first everything, right? Playing. Actually, I may be lying, but either way, it was our first tour, like driving. Harm's Way had flown out the year prior, but this was like the first thing. I have here a flyer from New Year's Eve with Bitter End at
New Year's Eve 2007.
Dude, so that's the fucking thing. None of these flyers have years on them.
It had to have been 2007.
It had to have been 2007 because yes. And this would have been in San Antonio. No one was there. It was New Year's Eve. And then we went to a party and it was cool. And so it was like, oh, we met Bitter End. It was we met Power Trip. First time I met Power Trip was in Dallas on the same tour. We met Creatures and Downpresser.
Creatures was so bummed. I like kind of barely knew them.
Yeah.
And like I would go on to like start bands with everyone in the band.
Right.
But like when Creatures did those Harm's Way shows, like they were the most bummed about the San Bernardino incident.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Okay, I remember Kyle being like, "Why'd you do that, dude?" And I was like, "I don't fucking know you."
I love the build up.
Yeah, we'll get there.
We'll get there. Don't worry.
It's so silly.
So yeah. So also, that means that me, Chris, and James are playing 2 sets a night,
right? Which
is pretty brutal. Even this is 14 years ago, so I was 20, but it's still like, fuck, man. It's not easy, especially when you're trying to like go off and fucking whatever.
When you are doing that thing that you do, and let me just add. Chris Mills, during this time, had a really messed up hand. And the way I knew that was because during the Harm's Way set that night, after every song, he would look at you guys and go, "My hand."
Right, from blisters, right?
Yeah, he was just like, "My hand, I can't." It
was the longest tour we ever did. Up to that point.
He was fucked.
So it was like, yeah, here's reality. I actually, I went back on my Facebook because this was back in the time when you would upload all your shit onto Facebook.
Sure.
And I had pictures of a big gash that I got in my hand from my guitar from like hitting it. And the whole tour, it would just bust out, so it happens. So we actually played, it's not Cobalt in Riverside. What's the other?
Cobalt is in the Valley, brother.
Sorry.
Easy.
My apologies.
Just so you know, I saw Harm's Way at the Cobalt as well.
Yeah.
And you were kind of still like doing a power violence.
Yeah, we didn't get paid.
That makes sense. I could do a season about the Cobalt, dude. Let me give you one Cobalt,
of course,
anecdote, just so you don't feel as bad about not getting paid. A few things. One time I saw 25 to Life there. 2 people paid. Their names were Taylor and Colin Young. Another time I played there, it was Ruckus and Zabalba. 0 paid. And on stage, we asked Gilbert, the guy that runs the door, we were like, "Hey, is there do you guys have waters?" And the guy from the bar is in like, it's just like a soda fridge and a guy who's like, Hey, Gilbert, we doing waters tonight? And the guy at the door goes, no.
Oh my god.
So we just played.
Yeah, we were still power violence out of our minds at that time.
Yeah.
But this was the tail end of that. I believe at this time we were writing for No Gods, No Masters. So it was also before, yeah, because John and John quit before that came out. So I know because they were on this tour. So weirdly, we were only playing Reality Approaches and prior shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean that was what got me, of course, you know.
Yeah.
Like I remember I was a kind of like a TA in
Mhm.
my school's like administrative office, and which would means I just was like on the Bridge 9 board for 48 minutes.
Yeah.
And I remember the day that Warriors Will Reign, the first single, went up.
Dude, you want to know something that's so funny? I'm sorry, I know I'm interrupting, but
Please.
I also went on our. Okay, so the other thing about this tour is I can't find the routing or the dates anywhere. I can find individual shows and I have flyers, but there's no like Harm's Way's going on tour. So I even went to our MySpace, which is still like 10% up.
That's crazy.
It has some pictures and stuff, you know.
Wow.
But you can look at our music, and Warriors Will Reign has 100,000 plays on it. That was
Dude, it was a hit.
Yeah, we got like 5,000 plays in a day, and like at the time, that's
we're
Metallica. We're the biggest.
Yeah,
band in the
no,
world.
straight up.
Yeah.
It was a phenomenon, that song.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was exciting.
Because it was like Harm's Way, you had the vibe, you know, with James looking the way that he does. It was like, okay, what is this? What are they about? You know.
Wait a minute.
And then
Reality Approaches came out 2009.
Yeah.
I don't know when this happened anymore.
I think but the videos from I think Warriors Will Reign came out significantly before the album, maybe.
Maybe.
Isn't the video from we'll be able to look it up.
Yes, it is.
I'll be able to cut. It's from 2008, and
it is.
It was during that song, during the end of the kickback mosh part, which like me as like I was like a kickback nut at that time. So I hear did it and
of course.
and I'm like this is my favorite band.
Yeah.
So I heard did it and it was like I'm all in on Harm's Way. Yes, way for Harm's Way. Was what I was thinking.
Oh my god. I just remembered that. Holy shit. This is going to be a great episode.
This is going to be a good one. Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, no idea when this tour actually happens, but we think we know, but it still doesn't add up in my head. But anyway, we played the Pharaoh's Den earlier in the day.
2 shows that night.
So we played, that means that me, Chris, and James played 4 sets in a night.
I saw all of them.
And Chris's hands. That's why his hands.
I can't, my hand. I'll never forget that.
So I remember we playing the first show, and Vogel was there, and this was way before I literally only knew him from Buried Alive and Terror, you know, like so it was kind of like, oh shit, you know, we were young, and it was like Scott Vogel's at the show. I think he was going because he expected Charlie to be there, who was the singer for Convicted, but regardless. Oh, another thing.
I mean, he loves supporting things.
I mean, it legitimately left an impression on me to this day. Like, I'll think about the fact that Martine and Scott and a lot of you guys just go to shows.
I mean, yeah.
You went to our show and you ordered Taco Bell the other day, you know?
I did do that. I needed my fix, brother. What do you need?
I also need to point out that on the first night of this tour, which is maybe 2 weeks prior to what we're about to talk about, my girlfriend, who at the end of the tour I was going to move in with, cheated on me. And I found out the first night, so like the whole tour, I'm just like losing my mind. So just to set the tone.
Yeah.
Crack open.
You're having a rough go of it.
A nice clear looking Sprite.
Yeah, look at that. See through.
So January 3rd, 2008.
Was that the day?
That's the day on the video on YouTube. So what else?
January 3rd, 2008. Dude, I think I was 16.
And we played San Antonio on New Year's, so that's possible.
Holy shit. Dude, I was 16 years old when this happened.
Yeah. 2008, I was 21. Wow. Yeah. No, not even. I was 20. I turned 21 later that year, yeah.
I just so you know, I brought a girl from high school to the show. Not a girl who was not into hardcore at all.
So, do you remember who played the second show? I know Downpresser was there.
Yeah, Downpresser, because Dan was Dan was on my side there. I don't know if Creatures played the second show. I really can't remember. All I remember is Harm's Way, Convicted, Downpresser.
So we played the first show, and then it was like literally, hey, do you guys want to play this other show? And I think we got there, and it seemed like it had already started.
Yeah,
like there had been something, and blah blah blah.
Yeah, I came from your first show, and it was like well underway. Actually, no, that's not true, because there's some depth to what I did.
Okay, all right.
That started. So, should I start?
Yeah.
Or
give me 1 second.
Yeah, please.
So this was at a time too where like Harm's Way just wanted to be like an ignorant band. Like we just wanted people to mosh. We wanted to play like heavy and fast. So like we opened up with a One Life Crew cover, which we would never do in a million years again. Especially like today.
I mean, there was nothing taboo about that
at all.
It was just sick.
It was just a cool intro. You know what I mean? And
I heard that intro 8 times a year.
Yeah, exactly. It was like that, and then like.
But every time it was like, all right.
It was that, and it was Misha by Integrity. At that time period that was it. Every fucking show. And
then Shipwreck would play the song that just was Misha.
Yeah. So we started. I was single. So I also had a lady friend there. Nothing happened or anything, but I also had someone not from the hardcore world there to witness this. So
sorry, man.
I think each band only played like 3 or 4 songs.
It was short.
We didn't play a full set. We played our stuff. We closed with Warriors. And now.
So I was very excited to see Harm's Way. I was a big fan. I still am. So the show starts, and there's this kid on the left side of the room, like physically freaking out because his girlfriend broke up with him.
Stage left or stage right?
Stage right.
Okay.
He's like, ah! like full on. And I was just like, geez, dude.
Yeah.
Like, and he starts like throwing the chairs that are stacked on the side of the room.
Yeah. And they're like those plastic kind of
it was
like
nothing.
Not like a wrestling chair. They were like
No.
the molded plastic with the metal wire frame.
Yeah, exactly. It's still not like a super dangerous thing to be lobbed, but the time came for my favorite part in my favorite Harm's Way song, and it was like, listen, I'm having a good time. I got this girl at the show. I'm just gonna do something crazy so she knows like what I'm about, So I picked up this chair, and you should have seen. I don't think it's in the video, like the way I throw it.
No, but you see this in the video. You see like, I believe you can see.
I'm gonna try to splice it into.
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
So
it's all on there.
And I threw it right to that guy.
I had no idea.
I didn't even throw it. I would say I lobbed it.
You.
It was like,
if you hit a friend with that, they would be like, "Oh, what the fuck?"
They'd have been like, fuck you, man.
Yeah, nobody would be like.
And instead, it was like, World War Six,
yeah,
dude. It was straight up like swarmed. So I was never fighting.
So that's my favorite
really
part about
weird.
the story. You've explained this to me, that it was like a cartoon where there's like a fight happening and then the character is outside.
I was just just standing there like, they're fighting because of what I just did. Like, what do I do?
Harm's Way never stopped playing because that was a long time policy of the band.
That was my permanent policy up until this Astro World thing.
Yeah,
because the whole thing is like, why didn't you stop, dude? And it's like, you can't really tell what's going on, but like now, like at FYA, I looked out and I just saw a corpse, and it was like, I have to stop playing this song. You know, like a guy in a yellow vest is picking a guy up. I'm not. Yeah. I gotta stop.
You never know. We had, the policy was friends, or like if someone got like visibly fucked up.
Sure.
Like if it's a
even
fight,
that I wouldn't have stopped before, but now it's like, oh, he's visibly fucked up.
Because it's the thing is it's half like, well, fuck you, this isn't your show. Like you're taking away from, we drove 2,000 miles to get here, whatever, and you're fighting. You're taking away from this, not you.
Agreed.
Obviously, I'm talking about
agreed.
People. But also then at the same time, it's like, what's the responsibility on the band's part?
But also, what are we making this aggressive music for?
Yeah.
If not to occasionally incite some violence.
No, absolutely.
Violence.
And I know for a fact this is probably the 5th show that it ended this way at this time for the band. And the band only started 2006. So we were only around for a couple years at this point. And
it's a good ratio.
It is.
That's like 2 a year.
It was awesome. It was great. And
yeah, I mean, so what worried me was, so I threw this chair. This guy's all pissy. Yeah, my girlfriend dumped me, and then you threw a chair at me. The whole show starts fighting. I'm fucking Bugs Bunny in the middle of the dust cloud. And eventually, and then the word that gets said to me by this guy, Joe, who is like a total fucking dork who I haven't seen in years. But if he's watching this, like, sorry, dude.
What's up, Joe?
I remember him shouting, I think he booked the show. Also, this venue never did a show again.
Yeah,
so sorry about that. He said, this isn't a hate breed show. And I remember I was like 16 thinking like, that was fucking corny.
So good, dude.
So me and this poor girl that I brought to the show who was terrified.
Yeah.
We get in my car and leave. Oh, I was talking to Andrew Morrissey. I had met him earlier that day, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked so mad at me for throwing this chair. And this is so funny. Andrew is like my actual fan. He's like a relative of mine now. Like he's like my actual family member.
He does always
lived with my brother. He does. He was standing outside like steaming hot, having just played, looking at me in my car like, and I was like, damn, the old fella from Harm's Way is mad. At me. But and then I talked to him later and he was like, oh, I know, I thought it was hilarious. So that was cool.
Yeah. So what's funny too is this is little Colin. This is skinny.
Oh, I was a lad.
You're a string bean at that time. Which is funny that you posted the Stone Cold pic today, because it reminded me to be like, oh, I need to figure out when that show was.
Dude, that was 3 years before the Stone Cold picture.
You were a little man. Yeah, because twitching. That's right.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was pre-sleep therapy, that picture, but still 3 years before January 3rd, 2008. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Literally 16.
If it's correct. There's one website that's like Harm's Way concert, one of those random websites, and it does say they played an unknown venue in San Bernardino, and they opened with One Life Crew and played Warriors Will Reign. Like, it does say that, and it's the same.
Says that date.
Says that date.
Okay, then it's got to be it.
It's got to be, but it's still fucking crazy, because I'm telling you, I know for a fact Reality came out in 2009. So I really don't know how this all works.
I feel like the song came out way before the record.
But could it have? But this is January 3rd, 2008.
January 3rd. I don't know. Yeah, it might be. It might be wrong.
It might be wrong. I don't
But
know.
it's either way. I was either 16 or 17.
Yeah, exactly.
Just fucking doing my thing, you know. Fast forward a few years. I had never spoken to you guys after that.
Oh, wait. I got it. There's a little bit more. There's a little bit more.
Oh, is there stuff I don't know?
Yeah. So I became aware of you because of that, but then we never spoke. Like you just said. You and I actually talked to each other in a group chat.
Well, there was also, you and I formally met at New England Metal and Hardcore Festival. One random year. I think it was 2012. That was the first day. Okay. Or it might have been Sound and Fury, actually. Sound and Fury 2011. Is
that the motorcycle year?
That is the motorcycle?
I think. No, it's 2010 because Saba.
2010. The motorcycle year was 2010.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2011 was the year that Twitching Tongues first played.
Okay.
So that was like really cool for us because we were not included in anything. And I met you just outside. We just had a random conversation.
I'm ashamed to say I don't recall.
It's okay.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Like, you don't like me at all, and that's fine. Like, I'm not important to you, but
I've waited until we started a podcast to talk about that.
Exactly. Please finish your anecdote. I'm okay. Dying to know.
It's actually about Taylor. So we were pulling away in the van, and Taylor was just doing something. I don't know what, but he was just like standing in
Taylor Young.
Yeah.
Was he at the show?
This is what I remember, because the conversation in the van was like, someone was like, "Why is that guy just standing there?" And Andrew said that's the brother of the guy who started the fight. So that was when I became aware of literally both of you guys on the same night.
What's hilarious is I don't think Taylor was there. So it might have been somebody else, and Andrew thought that guy was Taylor.
He is really good with names, as we know.
Exactly.
He's never confused anyone before. Ever.
Oh, dude, that's another thing we could do a whole episode on. Why so funny?
Detroit.
We can't just ignore that. Andrew lived with my brother briefly. And within those few months, these are my two favorites, is he went to In-N-Out and ordered his In-N-Out monster style. 0% joking. Like, can I get a number one, a monster style? Like, not even remotely kidding. And when diving into the pool, dead serious, like not a smile on his face, said, "Look, I'm James Bourne," and left into the pool.
Dude. So Andrew is a guy who became infamous totally against his will within our friend group of just misquoting things. And one time we were in Detroit, and it was steaming out of a sewer vent, and the Dark Knight had just come out. And Andrew went and jumped into it with his hands out like Mr. Mime and said, "Why so funny?" And we all were just kind of like, "The fuck are you talking about?" And then realized he was trying to be the Joker by jumping into steam.
Why so funny?
So good.
Oh, it's genius.
So either way, I believe I became aware of you guys that day.
That was for sure the case.
Later on in that tour, I think even the next day, we played Tijuana on a show that Renee booked. It was our first time meeting him. My first time out of the country. We played in an abandoned pharmacy with one band who opened, who just played mosh parts. They would just like, here's one, you know, like that's it. And it was all just kids.
What a concept.
Yeah.
We might need to run that back.
And Andrew Morrissey sang for Convicted at that show. For some reason, it was just like, yeah, let's let Andrew do it, you know, whatever. And I have, this will be my last. Oh, here's us walking into the Mexican border with all our gear. It was fucking miserable. Dude, here's another picture from this time. Look at how much James looks like Sean Martin. Can you tell?
Oh, wow. Yeah, he does.
Isn't that crazy? But
the goatee and the beanie placement.
Yeah. Here's Bo singing. Wow. There he is. There's the kid.
Who is he?
I think it was in Tucson at that show. But that was pretty much it. That was also what's really, this is how I'll wrap it up. That tour was a perfect like litmus test for finding out, hey, Harm's Way, I think can make it.
Yeah.
I don't think Convicted can make it. Like it was like,
I saw Convicted twice that day, and I don't think I ever listened to Convicted after.
yeah. So it was the kind of thing where it was like every night would be like, Molly, how was merch? And she'd be like, good, like couple $100. And we'd be like, awesome. How Convicted do? And she'd be like, nothing yet. You know, it was rough. And interestingly, Salt Lake City, it was the opposite.
There's always a few.
Well, no, it's because Salt Lake, the anti-God stuff, Harm's Way doesn't go, but the Convicted straight edge shit, really good, right? And then it was literally
Salt Lake from like 2007 to like 2013.
Yeah.
Top 5 in the country.
We played some really good shows in that time period specifically.
Legendary.
Yeah. And then a blizzard followed us all the way home, and we got back. And that was the first big West Coast Harm's Way tour. We had done one East Coast thing, but that was it.
Wow. Can you believe we're already at about 30 minutes here?
Well, that's perfect then.
Yeah.
Awesome. No, I can't. It's going by very quick.
Let's segue it.
Yeah, let's segue. Perfect.
About a year later, my brother was still in Nails at the time.
A year later, Nails was around at that time?
Maybe 2 years.
Oh.
If this really was 2008, it doesn't
You're right,
feel like
because
it is.
2010 we toured with them in Europe. You're
exactly.
Right.
That was where I was going. So that's where you guys kind of became mates in some way. My brother and Harm's Way.
I grabbed a pic of him and Saba.
See, there you go.
On the tour.
Taylor in his Sepultura hockey jersey that he apparently wore every single day there. Good for him.
Good for him.
And that led to me meeting Harm's Way.
Yeah.
Was like just my brother having had I wasn't sure if you guys knew about the chair thing. Like if it was like, hey, did you know that was me? Also, like, is that even a thing?
Right.
You? Like,
right.
Was the chair incident like a thing? Because like to me, that was like that was a cornerstone. You know, that was
interesting.
It was era defining for me. It was like, maybe I shouldn't do that again.
Wow. Interesting.
I shut down a venue forever, you know?
True. Yeah.
So it was like, I don't want to do that.
We need to emphasize too, it wasn't just like a fracas. It was like the whole room.
The whole show. It was
started
like
fighting.
Half of the show versus half of the show.
Exactly. It was the kids who were already there versus the kids who came from the earlier show, which was you know, coming from the earlier show. That's what I remember it as.
That was also the day, because of that fight, that was how I met Dan Weinrow, the singer of
no
Downfest.
Shit. That's so funny because I just assumed you guys all knew each other.
That was the day, that was the moment I met him.
Dude, we called him Jesus Presser at the time because he had long hair.
He looked fucking sick.
Yeah, we loved him. Bali loved him.
I'm going to his wedding in 2 weeks.
Oh,
it's like that. It all started at this moment at this Harm's Way show.
Mazel tov. All right. I love that.
Beautiful. So fast forward a few more years, and it's like Twitching Tongues is an established band. Harm's Way is on fire. You've got, this is my favorite James quote from that tour, because you were touring in support of your new EP. Your new record on Death Wish Records. Blinded.
Yeah.
And we were about to put out In Love There's No Law. So it was like, all right, this can finally happen. We're doing this cool European tour together. It's probably going to be the coolest one. To us, it was like, this is it. This is the dream. Like us and Harm's Way is like, we had only gone alone, I think, or when we went the first time, it was just Twitching Tongues and Ruckus, which is just us.
Yeah.
And then it was Twitching Tongues and Frustration, a band from Ireland. And this was like I had been with Trapped Under Ice and Bane when I played for Alpha and Omega. So I had seen what like an avocado booking tour could be.
Yeah.
And this was our first avocado booking tour.
Okay.
And here we are.
With us, and we had also been twice before this too. Once with Taylor, Nails, and Rise and Fall. Nails, Rise and Fall, Harm's Way should have been an amazing tour. And it wasn't. Like, it was like just bad turnouts and stuff. And then Dead End Path a year later. And Brutality Will Prevail. And then
who became a fucking phenomenon there.
Yeah, crazy.
Crazy.
But very, met everybody in that way. Like you meet the people from the scenes who are basically you. Do you know what I mean?
And that was what attracted me to Harm's Way musically. It was like as I had developed my musical interests, and then at the same time, here was this new band coming out that was like taking parts from songs that I was like taking parts from.
Yeah, totally.
So it was like, these are my guys.
Yeah.
I don't know them, but they're my guys. So this was like, it was fate when we were finally put together.
Absolutely.
This was a destined friendship.
And this was our first time spending more than like 10 minutes next to each other.
And boy, howdy, did we spend some time together. Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for watching episode 1 of HardLore Stories from Tour. Be sure to come back next week for part 2, where we talk about the insane 6-week brutal European tour that both of our bands did together. See you then.